Exercise is not a weight loss program. Cardio is not necessary for fat loss. Carbs are not the enemy.
One of the best ways to improve your hip mobility that doesn't require stretching, get up off your ass and walk around.
There is no magical fat burning zone, only poor habits and a poor diet.
What is golf fitness? It is a program designed to make your body better at the game of golf. Squat, deadlift, press, pull, and rotate. This will make you better at golf. It'll make you better in all aspects of your life.
Welcome to the Shoot It Straight podcast. We're here bringing you all the good content. My name is Erika Wescott.
Oh God, are you trying to like get your Oklahoma accent going?
No, remember you did tell me to do that last time, or a couple episodes ago. You were like, I don't know why.
I just said introduce yourself.
That was when I did British.
Yeah, don't do British. Just do you.
My name is Erika Wescott.
Okay. What are you?
I'm a nutrition expert, fitness coach,
Good job.
operations behind the scenes, Cody Wescott Golf Fitness.
No, we don't need a job title. Just
Squats mom. I'm a
Okay.
sister. I'm a daughter.
That's enough.
Is that a country music
That's
song?
enough. That's enough. And I'm Cody Wescott, a golf fitness expert
Yes.
and coach.
And speaking of, there's little squat man making another appearance on today's episode.
He's making them at the beginning of the episodes.
Yeah, he knows when we like are paying attention to something besides him. I'm sure people, dog lovers and dog owners out there know the vibe. It's like when you're on a phone call and he knows that your attention is like wrapped up in the phone call or the Zoom call is when he becomes extra. Like, pay attention to me or I'm gonna lash out.
See the camera?
He just got groomed, everybody, so he's looking very dapper today in his bandana, his freshly cut ears.
It smells very nice.
We're getting ready to take a road trip for a few weeks out east to see the grandparents.
And we're going to New York City.
Yes, we are going to New York.
It's gonna be fun.
It's going to be fun. We're going to go to New York, go to Ocean City, go to
some golf courses.
find some golf courses in between, and then hopefully hit some spots on our drive back. We'll hit some spots up north in the middle of the country somewhere.
Some Michigan, some Chicago.
Yeah.
Some good times. Golf in there too. Yeah. Golf everywhere.
I follow this girl named Gabby from Chicago. Do you follow her?
No.
She's got like a pretty good account. She's like a pretty casual golfer, but her page is all about golfing. And I think she's like the single girl in Chicago, and she's cute. So her page is like cute. She like lives in the city of Chicago, but she goes out and golfs pretty frequently. She does a lot of 5-iron.
Yeah, 5-iron's cool.
Yeah.
5-iron's big in Chicago.
Again, for Chicago is like perfect.
They've got some other cool spots in Chicago, which I obviously like. If you're gonna be an avid golfer in Chicago, indoor golf is gonna be a big part of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool to see people in the cities like that make it work though, because it's more effort. Like she'll hop on the train with her golf bag and stuff. I don't know enough about Chicago, the outside, the greater area. So like, I'm sure you can get places there.
I did that in DC a couple times. Got on the metro with my golf bag.
Yeah. The metro is,
Got on the
where do
subway.
you go to go where?
I went to Rock Creek Park once. Got on the,
Where did you go off?
I got off in Adams Morgan, then I did the bus.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I did like the
I was
combo.
gonna say, the metro doesn't get you that many. Even like if you go to Haynes Point, it's like you're not metroing to Haynes Point unless you're going to the Smithsonian and walking 3 miles with your sticks.
Yeah, and then can you get pretty close to Langston? I know that the metro, the train goes over the driving range, but I don't know where the next stop is.
Yeah, I mean,
Out
that
there.
metro is great, but it's also not great. It's limited. It's not like New York or Chicago where you can really get into like the nooks and crannies of the city, but still, it's a thing that you can do for sure.
I mean, it's still like kind of funny when I'd go to 5-iron in DC and like be walking down the streets with my clubs.
Yeah, it's totally weird. But now that like indoor golf has been blowing up in the last couple of years.
And then people would always ask you like, "Oh, you going golfing?" It's like,
No shit.
yeah, no shit.
I know. It's weird when people ask questions like things like that.
Like, oh, I wish I was golfing, and then like they would give you a hard time, like, because sometimes I'll be doing it like in the middle of the day because people don't understand my schedule. Where like, oh, I've already worked. You're just now waking up at 9 o'clock. I've already worked for 4 hours, 5 hours sometimes.
Like newsflash, there's people that work at different hours of the day.
Yeah, just because you see me not working at 9 o'clock in the morning doesn't mean I didn't already work for 5 hours.
That's
this
right.
morning.
Totally. That's funny.
Back when I was your age,
I
would never get to golf on a Tuesday.
Ah, bless. Anyway, we're bringing a nice, like, short and quick and dirty episode on supplements, which is a fun topic to talk about. people love supplements. People love to buy shit. We talked about that a few episodes ago. It's funny, like just I don't know, what's that in your drink? What's that? I want to buy that because you have it. So we figured we'd touch on this because it's definitely not something that's of like a crazy level of importance in my opinion, as far as the big needle movers,
It's not
low hanging fruit.
It's not a big needle mover.
But for the people that are dialed in and that are doing the things like sleeping well and eating their protein and, you know, moving every day and getting in some steps and lifting heavy weights, to take things to the next level or to supplement, literally the definition is to maybe take a few supplements. And there are a couple that we partake in personally and do recommend for people that are maybe wanting to level up. So we should maybe kind of go through what those are and how they help.
Yeah. So, but you know, remember first, like, you know, in our Lift Heavy Swing Fast, Erika made this really awesome Eat to Perform ebook that tells you everything you need to know about your nutrition. And once you've covered all of that, then you may supplement your diet with some of these things.
Yeah, I mean the best like visual description for people that are visual like me of supplements is like it's the picture of like the mansion on fire, like engulfed in flames, and you have the person that's off to the side with like a bucket of water pouring it on the this huge ball of fire. Like it's not gonna do anything. Like that's literally doing nothing. Not gonna hurt it, but it's not gonna help you either.
It might help that little bitty corner not be completely fried.
But at the end of the day, it ends up being like
the whole thing's gonna burn down.
The other thing is like it becomes expensive urine or whatever people say, which is so true. Like so true. You're just like peeing out your BCAAs that you just spent $50 a scoop on or whatever the fuck, right? So it's like.
Well, the best one is like when someone's in a swimming pool and it's like I've ate adequate protein. They're like they're soaking wet and they take like a water bottle and they're like dumping it on their head.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, here's my BCAAs. Yes. It's like, oh, well, you've already covered everything you needed for today, but here you are, like just pouring water on your head while you're in a pool from a bottle of water you paid for, by the way. You're not like refilling it out of the pool. Like this is your Fuji bottle of water.
Yes.
Just wasting it on top of your head because you're wanting to get wet from already being in the pool.
So yeah, it's a it's a topic that's worth talking about though, because people bring it up a lot, and I think like, you know, yes, there is value in supplements, but there's also a whole industry behind it, and that really is why there are so many, and they're so popular because the branding is sexy and their marketing is good, and they bring on ambassadors and cool athletes and influencers and all the stuff. But let's go through our list of ones that we do recommend once you are dialed in and you're ready to kind of just maybe you need a little something or you want to change up your routine.
Cool. Let's take them one by one.
Caffeine being the first.
Caffeine being number one.
Because that's pretty much the only supplement I feel like I take regularly. But caffeine, bar none, absolutely helps. You can feel a difference when you consume caffeine, whether it is in a pre-workout or you're drinking black coffee, which is truly still my preference.
Right.
I feel like black coffee is the best because it's very easily digestible. There's not like other stuff in it that's going to like be funky on your gut.
Right. And I've heard people say like, you know, I'm intolerant to caffeine or something like that. And which you can be, but if you're getting your caffeine from like a pre-workout drink that has a ton of other stuff in it,
yes,
you know, you need to kind of peel back the layers of the onion a little bit and, you know, try just caffeine. Like maybe it's in the form of black coffee, like they make pills and stuff. But anyways, like get you a more like straight up source of caffeine versus like the caffeine plus the beta alanine and the niacin and all the other stuff that gets thrown in a pre-workout.
Yes.
Try that first. See. And again, like dosing it, right? Like you don't need to just go balls to the wall and go buy a pre-workout drink that has 300 milligrams of caffeine if you don't consume caffeine on a regular basis. Like start with like, you know, what's in green tea? Like how much caffeine is in that? Like 50 milligrams, 30 milligrams, something like that.
Probably 50.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe a little
50.
more.
50 to 100.
But you could have half, like, you know, you
80.
can start small.
Yeah.
Kind of like just like progressive overload with weightlifting. Like, you know, try like, because definitely with caffeine, like you don't want to just overdose yourself. Like just get enough to get the stimulus you need to go hit your workouts. It'll help give you energy, it'll give you mental clarity, it'll help you push through some things, like, you know, it'll give you a little bit of a, I don't know if grit's the right word, but it just helps you kind of push through and perform better.
Yes. And studies have shown that caffeine absolutely elevates performance.
100%.
Again, if you just legitimately aren't tolerant to caffeine, then by no means is this like you must take. this is just something that we've experienced. If you're somebody who maybe you're working out in the morning and it's early, you're not wanting to consume a bunch of calories or a breakfast or whatever to give you energy, and you need that little extra boost, caffeine can be really helpful in that way, of just giving you that little extra kick and energy for sure.
But you do also want to be aware of the like half-life of the caffeine.
Yes.
I think it's like 8 to 10 hours that you're still going to have like a good amount of caffeine in your system.
Yes. So if you
like,
have 300 milligrams in the morning, by the afternoon, you still have 150 in your system.
Right. So, I mean, you really got to, you know, make sure like you're tapering it off and definitely like shutting it down, you know, at least 8 hours before bed.
Yeah. I always tell people like just nothing afternoon, honestly, even if you're go to bed late, it's enough to definitely mess with your sleep. And I've noticed that too. Like, and I'm pretty tolerant of caffeine, but like there's certain times where I'm like, oh fuck, I probably just overdid it a little bit too much. Or I had coffee at 6 a.m. and then I had it again at 10, and that was just overload.
Right.
So if you're someone that struggles with sleep, I also don't think that it's better to add fuel to the fire by adding caffeine. So yeah, it can give you more quote unquote energy, but not if we're having terrible sleep, sleeping 4 hours, sleeping on and off, waking up 4 times a night. Caffeine might not be the answer until you might actually want to, if you are consuming caffeine, start to back off of it.
Right.
And get your sleep under control first, because obviously that's going to help your energy levels and your recovery. Again, it's back to the supplements, like way more than just like throw some caffeine on it.
Right. And especially caffeine can like kind of, you know, make you anxious. Like, and I'm not really this type of person, like, but I've noticed I had an early morning tea time in a little tournament at the country club a couple weeks ago, and I took a lot of caffeine before my round, which I typically do. Like I typically, you know, drink my coffee or drink pre-workout. It helps me perform when I'm out there playing by myself and there's no pressure on. But when I drank my caffeine and I had the pressure of like playing it was a few weeks ago. It was in match play, and it took me a minute to calm down, because like I get like when I play golf like for real, like, and there's people watching and like there's something on the line, I get a little nervous when it's competition golf.
Yeah.
And I get nervous, and that's weird. I'm not nervous like in front of people. Like I could stand there and like speak to probably 100 people and be pretty fine, but I got to hit a golf club, or if I back squat in front of these people, I'd be set. But like, yeah, like, and so when I was jacked up on a bunch of caffeine and a little anxious, it definitely excelled it a little bit. So be mindful if you're a competitive golfer and you're going to drink a bunch of caffeine that you're not used to, you might have some side effects.
So that's caffeine. Second, creatine.
Creatine.
Was that second for you?
Yeah, creatine monohydrate. People always ask, and again, like brands, like, you know, there's a lot of good brands out there now. Like we're not like sponsored by anyone. So like just pick a brand that you look on the label and see like the good ingredients and stuff. But creatine being the one where it should just say creatine monohydrate, unflavored powder.
Well, yeah,
easy.
I was gonna say good ingredients. It should just be creatine.
This one should just be creatine.
It should be cheap. You don't have to go for expensive. If you are paying expensive creatine, you're not getting anything extra. It's very well studied. It's also like the most studied like of the supplements as far as research goes. So it's like you can get a bulk load of creatine for like literally like $10 or something. It's cheap.
Yeah, and so there's no like, you don't necessarily have to take it at a certain time. It is shown to be slightly more effective if you take it post workout. I like to take mine like with some carbs or something to like kind of help like really enhance like like getting into your bloodstream and stuff like that. Maybe that's the old bro science, but I've been doing it forever. But yeah, like just take your creatine. It could be like anywhere between like 3 to, and if you're a really big guy with a lot of muscle, you can take more, you know, or gal. You can take like 3 to 7 or 10 grams, but 5 is usually about the sweet spot for most people.
Yeah.
They used to recommend this like loading phase where you would take like 20 grams for like 5 days to a week, and then you would taper it down to 5. There's been some mixed results around that, and I think people experience like a little bit of bloating, a little bit of like uncomfortable, you know, it's a little uncomfortable on your belly, stuff like that. So like, you know, you're going to get the benefits. Like you're going to be loaded in a couple weeks no matter what. So you probably just skip the loading phase and just do 5 grams a day, and like that'd be probably your best bet.
I vote that too. I don't think it's necessary to load. We're not in a hurry here, and it does tend to kind of be ew on the gut. Yeah. Some people feel it on 3 to 5 milligrams. That's another thing too. So some people like can't really do the creatine because it's just not working with their gut. And that is a real life thing. So
And creatine's in food too. So, I mean, you're getting
Yeah.
some, it's just, again, here we are supplementing, just trying to get a little extra. And then creatine is not like gear. It's not steroids. Like, you're not going to get jacked up on creatine. You're not going to feel really anything from creatine. It's going to help you with recovery. It's going to help you with performance and a little bit of increase like muscle size, put a little water in your muscles and stuff like that, which there's nothing wrong with that. People are like, oh, water weight. It's like, there's nothing. It's fine. But yeah, it's like, every time someone starts taking creatine, like, hey man, like, when should I notice like a difference? I'm like, you're probably not going to really notice much. It doesn't move the needle that far. It does move, again, well, like supplements like you said at the very beginning, they don't move the needle that much, but it does move the needle. But you're not going to be like, it's not going to be like you're taking anabolic steroids and be, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
absolutely not.
From taking creatine.
Absolutely not. No. Yeah, that was good. Third, I like to throw in electrolytes.
Okay.
I don't know if we're going in the order of importance. We're not, because these are our favorites and we don't have a long list of them. But I do
you
think
can do whatever you want.
I'm going to throw in electrolytes because I do think that it's important for our body to make sure that we're getting enough, having good water balance. So the difference between drinking water and drinking water with electrolytes is that typically when we're we can overconsume water. And we can become too hydrated. And if we're peeing like clear or very, very, very light yellow, that means that we're not really absorbing any of the water. And we actually want to be like retaining some of that water. Hence electrolytes, and what they do is like basically restore our body's water balance. So thinking like sodium, potassium, like the big ones, we all think of like the salt blocks like back in the day or whatever. But there's so many good electrolytes out there, or just easy ones to access. And even like, again, pre-workouts, some post-workouts have electrolytes in them. You just kind of have to check your labels. But I think they're good for anybody that works out. Honestly, just for the daily, Pedialyte and stuff like that, they're making a comeback. Like the daily person should be consuming electrolytes because, again, we want to have water. We want to have water balance. We don't want to be dehydrated and just, you can be drinking your gallon challenge of water every day. But if you're just peeing it all out, then you're not getting what you need for proper hydration. And hydration, as we know, like it affects our brain, our nervous system, how our muscles recover, all of that stuff. People that feel like they're low on energy, they're like, I'm drinking a lot of water, but I feel tired. Like it absolutely could be like it could be a little bit of dehydration. And I've had a lot of clients, honestly, over the years that feel a lot better when they're consuming electrolytes regularly. And again, double up on them if you feel like you're extra sweaty, or if you live in Texas in summer or Florida, like we've lived in both of those places where you're literally just sweating by existing.
Right.
It is not a bad idea to be drinking and consuming electrolytes in your water.
Right.
You will probably feel and notice a really, really big difference. So
I even take my electrolytes are a step further and have carbohydrates in them too.
Yeah, and there's
so that if you don't mind, if you're like a leaner person and you're trying to, especially if like you're a golfer and you're out there playing multiple rounds or something like that, I use Carbolin, a little bit of carbs and electrolytes that'll give you energy and stuff like that throughout like your round of golf and keep you hydrated.
There's some science that supports the carbs help the absorption of electrolytes as well. That's why I like liquid IV, which people are like, there's sugar, and it's like it's 45 calories in a stick.
You're fine.
You're fine.
Yeah.
But again, if you're consuming plenty of carbohydrates otherwise, then you don't necessarily need that, right? You go for the Ultima or a LMNT that doesn't have any carbohydrate whatsoever. But like a liquid IV is a good one for adding that little bit of like, and also for flavor. Some people don't like super sweet, so maybe they don't like a carbohydrate, sugar, any
like a
sugars
Gatorade
added.
or whatever.
Right. So it's back to like preference too, but find like what works for you. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of I think it is helpful to have a little bit of carb. I noticed that like my gut feels better with a little bit of carbohydrate when I take any of that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I think it helps with like my body being like, oh, this is a real food.
Right.
Not just some like sugar substitute or whatever. But that's just me. Everybody's different.
I think it's really nice out on the golf course. Like it's just, good, keeps you hydrated, gives you, some calories. So many people like don't eat on the golf course at all. Like they, it's like they either go pork missile or don't eat at all.
That's right.
And another Miller Lite or something. But
that's right. Yeah. What else?
Mine is, actually, and since I'm cutting, I've quit drinking this. I drink whey protein, but right now I'm cutting, so I want to get all my calories from whole foods, so that way I'm not hungry. But I used to mix in my protein shake, and again, that'd usually be post workout, or just anytime that I needed more protein. Again, though, when we recommend in your ebook is getting adequate protein from real foods.
Yes.
A lot of people have struggle with that, though. We
Yes, they do.
know that for sure. Like, that is
Yes.
the number one issue, right? People don't eat enough protein. So you need to. So we always recommend you track how much protein you eat, and if you are deficient in how much protein you need from your diet, supplement it with whey protein. Is the most is it efficient? Is the word I'm looking for? Like, your body, processes that the best. Whey protein.
It's the most complete bioavailable
there we
protein.
go. That's the word I'm looking for.
Because it's derived from dairy, so people that can't tolerate dairy will struggle with whey. Again, it's all about the dose, right? If anybody that has like 3 scoops of whey, have you ever had I remember when I first started trying proteins, this is before I met you, but it was like, you just didn't know what was in shit. Like, before I knew anything, it was like, oh, 3 scoops of protein into this. And then like my gut was like, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, yeah, that's 3 fucking scoops of protein. That's like gross.
Right.
So again, even for someone who maybe isn't accustomed to it or hasn't had any, like, even a scoop might feel like a lot. So I always tell people, like, try a half scoop, ease your way in, because it's a supplement. And again, different brands have different fake sugars in them. A lot of them are low carb or no carb, because the point is just for it to just be a protein. We typically get enough carbs and fats in our diets based on the standard American diet. But yeah, I think that whey protein is the best option. The one after that, if you need to go vegan, would be pea protein. Pea protein is pretty awesome, pretty well-rounded. Peas themselves are amazing, actually, have a decent amount of protein. So pea protein is pretty good. It does tend to be more expensive. But I think that like whey tends to like just taste better, just based on the ones that I've tried. I don't do a lot of protein powder anymore. It's a good gateway.
We do now,
which I don't want to talk about that on this episode. We're doing protein ice creams or whatever, but I will say, like, I don't miss protein powder. I definitely like to get my protein from Whole Foods. And
I'd rather, like, do I want to suck down a chocolate protein shake that doesn't really taste like that great, or would I rather eat another couple ounces of steak?
Yeah, but here's where there's some nuance that I kind of wanted to distinguish between. If you're a guy, like, or just shooting most of it as men because they're trying to get 200 plus grams of protein, I can understand where you need a supplement with a protein shake.
Right.
Because after a certain point, 200, 250 is a lot of protein to be consuming.
Mm-hmm.
If you are, however, if your goal is to hit 130 grams of protein, I vote that you can probably get that from eating Whole Foods and not having to supplement.
Right.
So there is a difference between the two, because like once we get to a certain calorie target and you're 3,000 plus calories, you're getting enough of your nutrients by way of like bioavailability and the good whole nutritious foods or whatever. But if you're someone who's eating 1,800 calories and you're consuming 120 grams protein, like you need to be eating most of that like good whole foods. You don't have a lot of wiggle room for like the other stuff.
Right.
So yeah, what I've seen with my clients over the years, protein powder is a great way to get people to get to their targets and give them that confidence, and also teach them how protein actually does change how their body looks, change how their workouts are. Their body composition literally starts to change, even if we're not cutting, like we're eating enough whole food protein, where people are like, oh, I get it now, and I feel better having a lot of protein, and they start to wean off of and then I try to always encourage people, use protein when you're in a bind, when you're traveling, you're on a road trip, you're on vacation with your family, you're probably not going to have as much protein available like as you would when you're at home meal prepping.
Right.
That's when it's awesome to like come in on the clutch, because it's like, cool, here's my giant tub of protein. I know I'm going to be able to hit my extra 30 grams every day because I have my supplement.
Yeah. Speaking of, like, since we're about to go on a road trip, I will be bringing my protein powder.
Yeah.
Just because, like, going out to eat, like, I'm not going to get the amount of protein I'd make at home.
It's challenging. Yeah. So
unless you want to spend a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Like, I'll have 2 steaks because each one's only 6 ounces that you're serving.
Well, the other thing that I'll say about protein powder, just because this comes up a lot, and then we can wrap up, is that protein powder like truly has been marketed so well over the years that people think that it's like better than food.
Oh.
And you've probably, you haven't gotten this?
Mm-mm.
Where people are like, I'm adding it to my daily diet. Well, okay, but like if you're you just posted about this recently, this concept of like, if you're eating all the same shit and you add a protein powder, you are adding calories to your
Right.
diet. So could we see weight gain in that situation? Potentially. That's if you're not reducing your other things by
Right.
way of calories. But the other thing is too, like, again, people thinking that it's like, oh, well, just because I'm working out and lifting weights, I need to do a protein powder. Like, it's this thing. It's totally like a gym culture thing.
It is like, you know, it's like for people that want to lose weight, they're like, they don't realize like, oh, if I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to add more shit.
I'm going to buy
like,
this supplement. I'm going to buy a protein powder.
And like my pre-workout has 80 calories. The post-workout has 45 calories. And I just drink this stuff as I like it. I take fish oil. And notice these are not on our top list. These are just what Cody takes. But anyways, fish oil. And then I think I get around like 300 calories from supplements.
Yeah, for sure. I've worked with clients that have struggled with like when we're doing a cut and we're like, I'm like, what are we missing? And there's definitely been situations where I'm like, oh, fuck, you're not tracking your fish oil.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not weighing your peanut butter. That's a whole nother thing. But you're not like measuring your scoops of protein. You're just doing heaping, whatever. Like, and that stuff adds up. It literally adds up. So yeah. And this isn't a conversation around like, you know, calories in, calories out, whatever, but it counts. It does count. And so, you know, the whole protein powder thing, it's not magic. It's a supplement. It can be really great in a bind. It is not better than eating whole food protein if you can access that. It is not magical. It doesn't put just like magical muscles on your body. Like, you still need to be doing the things. You need to be eating enough protein overall. You need to be lifting weights, whatever. But again, I think it can be just a good tool when you need it, and it's quick and easy. It can be added literally to a cup of water. Shake it up, done.
Yep.
Were there any other ones on your list? Those were what I.
No, I mean, because then the other ones just get like, I mean, I'm taking fish oil because my doctor, like, you know, told me that I needed some DHEA or whatever the hell. So I mean, it's just like, you know, there's little ones in there, but those are definitely like the top ones. Like you can get started with.
Yeah, those are the ones that we feel comfortable, like, if working with a client that I could speak to and speak eloquently to and understand and coach them on how to apply them, which is what we're going to stick to and talk about.
Right.
So hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully someone out there learned something today about their supplement routine. But yeah, at the end of the day, hopefully too, maybe it saved you $50 on buying the next bullshit, whatever you were thinking of buying.
Yeah, I mean, I used to spend thousands of dollars a year on supplements.
Yeah.
And I didn't track my food at all.
Yeah.
So
start there.
Start there with your food.
Start there with your food. Get your good sleep. Lift your heavy weights. And on that note, click like and subscribe.
Find us on YouTube, Cody Wescott Golf, and Shoot It Straight Podcast.
Yes.
Instagram, Cody Wescott Golf, and
Erika Elko on the Instagram. Maiden name, sticking it out. Elko vibes. And yeah, www.codywescottgolf.com.